that for a lot of blind men living in a village trying to understand things beyond our own ability to comprehend, we need to be able to be adaptable, to be flexible, and be willing to accept approaches like this. Thank you very much.
See if I can get it. Yeah. I really am excited hearing how you all have responded to the book. It's actually my first experience hearing a group of students react to having read developmental evaluation and engage with it. And I appreciate the thoughtfulness and seriousness with which you've engaged with this. And so all I knew was the title and surmised that you might go somewhat in that direction. Great graphics that you pulled together. Let me grab my piece here. Very impressive graphics. So I want to build on the metaphor that you've developed because as you've suggested, it's actually one of the more common metaphors that people use to suggest that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And one of the ways to extend the metaphor is to look beyond the parts of the discrete elephant. But you'll recall there's a book on systems, a chapter on systems thinking that actually follows the complexity chapter. And so, as you've indicated, the story focuses upon each one touching a different part. But when we add a systems perspective to it, then we move beyond the individual elephant and try and understand the individual elephant to realize that an elephant's a very social animal. So that our understanding of it as an individual elephant in a zoo, in the wild you don't find elephants as individuals. They take a long time to rear their young. The herd is organized around the young. They have a very distinct hierarchy in every herd that's organized around the young. And so understanding the elephant as a discrete autonomous animal is quite different than understanding it as a part of the ecological system in which it evolved and in relationship to the other flora and fauna. So part of what developmental evaluation is geared toward is the source of the complexity is the interactions and interrelationships, not just elephants with each other, but elephants in that environment, and as you suggested, elephants with human agency. And so the big impact, and there's been several studies of the impact of the ivory trade and the efforts to stop the ivory trade. So the human agency, as you've described it, becomes part of the elephant system, as does the changing national parks, civil war around the parks, management of the parks. So by broadening our system perspective, we get a different view of the elephant beyond what the blind people can see on any given part. And in a sense, a part of what we're doing with developmental evaluation is moving beyond the traditional bounds of programs and projects. We actually, our history is to treat a program or project like an individual elephant, to put boundaries around it, to think that we've got the whole thing contained there within the space of the program. And the program people often act as if the only thing going on in participants' lives is that program. But once we open up the boundaries of that closed project system and start looking at the interactions of participants with other people in their world, other things that they're involved in with their family lives, and with the other systems that they're part of. It's not unlike opening up from looking at an individual elephant in the zoo, which we would never actually understand in the zoo by itself. We only understand them in that ecosystem where they evolved in relationship to other flora and fauna. And that's where the complexity enters in, as you've indicated, the relationships between these different ones. And so it becomes important for us to understand that it's the boundaries we place around our perspectives in evaluation, often treating projects and programs as contained and bounded and closed systems. We get a very different perspective when we view it. And it really matters what kind of perspective we bring to this, whether we have this bounded, contained system, the logic model, the narrow lens, or if we open it up, because these conceptualization, our mindsets and our mind maps really affect what we do in that regard. Let me add one other thought, since you used Eisner. Eisner, of course, his approach is what's come to be called connoisseurship evaluation. And so art criticism or any other kind of criticism by connoisseurs requires expertise. The notion is that the expert can make judgments because of their knowledge. And I've been interested in expertise for a long time. Part of what's going on with software development and people in artificial intelligence are trying to model expertise. So the Big Blue program that IBM developed to play chess is modeling chess expertise. And the latest iteration, the Watson program that played Jeopardy, is trying to model Jeopardy expertise. And there are people trying to model great medical diagnosticians, great architects, great legal minds, and create software that can be used for them. So I had the opportunity to visit one of the leading laboratories that's doing artificial intelligence because the military's gotten involved in this. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base outside of Dayton, Ohio is where the military intelligence labs are that are working on artificial intelligence. And at the core of that is expertise, or in Eisner's terms, connoisseurship. And it was intriguing to see that how they approach expertise. Their definition of it is a little bit counterintuitive, but actually quite critical to developmental evaluation and systems thinking. What they've learned by studying experts and people who are looked to as folks who have deep insight into things is that experts don't have answers to things. Experts aren't folks with a set of answers that they can take and apply to any situation. What characterizes experts in various fields, they found, is astute situation recognition. They're able to understand the situation. They have rubrics for figuring out this is what's going on here. And the answers for any given situation come out of that muddling through that Randy began with, that gives you a chance to engage with the situation. So expertise, rather than being answers, is in fact engagement. It's having some way of understanding through engagement what's going on in whatever system you're doing, and opening up our engagement with what you call the unknown unknowns comes from engaging and having ways and perspectives to engage, not an entirely blank slate. So the concepts of complexity, as you laid them out, the concepts of system thinking are frameworks for engaging with those unknown unknowns to help us generate understandings as we work with people who are trying to take action. So thank you so much for offering that metaphor and for engaging with the book.
Yeah, thank you.